Hey there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at Meeple Land by Blue Orange Games.
Meeple Land is a tile-laying set collection game in which you are building a theme park. Really cool idea in my opinion. This one has different colored meeples that you're trying to put in specific rides or attractions of your park. You need to connect paths. You need to select the right buses with the people who are going to enter your park. A few things going on in this game. There's a market, so there's drafting. Really cool things with this one. Let's go down below. We'll show you all the components, give you a brief rules overview, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on Meeple Land. All right, welcome to Meeple Land, folks. In this game, you are going to be building a theme park using different attraction and service tiles, placing them into your plot of land that you are trying to use to attract people to Meeple Land. And so in this game, you are going to use coin tokens over here as your money to purchase these tiles. So on your turn, one of the actions you have available to you, there's only three. The first is that you can purchase a tile, paying the cost here in the bottom right, and placing that tile on your board, noting you do have to connect pathways here to pathways that are already out on the board. So in the beginning, you only have this pathway that's right underneath your Meeple Land entry banner, and so I would have to place it sort of like that. You can rotate this any direction you want, so I could do that as well. Just noting you do have to connect the pathway tiles, so I'm just going to place it like this for right now. That's the first thing you can do. You do replace tiles as they're bought. And as you are purchasing these tiles, noting that this was the pirate ship here, you are checking them off on your little scoreboard here, scorecard, because you want to try to get as many of the different attractions into your park, because that is going to give you points at the end of the game, depending on how many you were able to collect. You can see here that the tiles do come in three different sizes. You've got your large ones, you've got your medium-sized ones, and you've got your littler ones here that are going to provide services to your guests. You can see here what the different types of services are on these tiles. And the reason this is important is because certain spots to place customers, so you can see here I can place a blue customer and a pink customer. I can also place a second pink customer on this tile, but only if I have a restaurant that is connecting to this tile. And so again, I'm going to place it right here, and this tile does not have a restaurant on it, so it would not help. I would need one that had a restaurant, such as this one right here. You can see that it does have a restaurant, and I want to connect it like so. Now, your pathway tiles are extremely important that you do try to connect them as much as possible, because if you don't connect, this would not be a legal placement, but if I had other tiles on the board connecting this to them, and I didn't connect right here, anywhere at the end of the game that you have pathways that run into tiles that don't connect, that is going to be worth -2 points at the end of the game. So you want to avoid this as much as possible. But if I do connect, then I can use this spot right here to place a pink meeple, because I do have a restaurant that is connecting to this tile. So again, you can purchase a tile, you can purchase an additional entryway into your park, so that way you can place tiles in a different area of your board, say up in this top corner right here if I wanted to. You can also purchase another plot of land to attach to your board so that you have extra space to put more tiles in. Those are the things you can buy. If you don't want to buy any tiles, you have the option of advertising. When you advertise, you're going to pay $2, and you're going to gain the different meeples that are on the back of the tile on the top of the small tiles. And so in this case, it would be a green and yellow meeple. I draw them from the bag here of all the different meeples, and I'm going to place them at my entry right here. At the end of the round, I will then get to move those meeples out on the board into spaces that are available to them. Those are the two things you could do. The third option that you have on your turn is that you can pass. And when you pass, you're not going to get any more tiles. You're not purchasing anything for the rest of the round. All the other players at the table still can until they pass. But when you pass, you do get to pick one of these buses. And so there's going to be a number of buses out here each round equal to the number of players plus one. So in a two-player game, you're going to have 3 different buses. And you can see here that these bus cards are going to have different sets of meeples placed on them. And whenever you pass, you get to pick from the ones that are available to you. And so if I took this one right here, I would claim all of these meeples. This bus card would go away. And I would again place these meeples at the front of my entrance, and now I can place them out onto the board in the spaces available to them, starting from one of the entryways. So at the beginning, I only have the one entryway, and I have to follow this path. And anywhere that the connecting paths go, my meeples can follow those paths to get to the different attractions, filling in these spaces so long as they match the right color. So I don't have the right colors right here. I would not have picked this bus using what I have on the board. But if I had a blue meeple, I could place them here, a pink one there. And since I do have the restaurant connecting to this pirate ship, I could place another pink meeple there. Any ones that I don't have places for, they are just going to stay at my entrance. And then after I've placed all the meeples I can place, I then am going to gain $1 for every meeple that is somewhere in my park. If they're not in my park, if they're at my entrance, I don't get any money for them. I will also get an additional $1 for any that are on these yellow banners that have the special requirements to getting them in. So if I had all of these filled up, it would be $1, $2, $3, $4 that I would gain from the bank. This is also going to be points at the end of the game as well. You get 1 point for every blue or green meeple that are in your park at the end of the game, and you will get 2 points for every pink and yellow meeple that are in your park at the end of the game. Ones that are left at your entrance at the end, those are going to give you negative points in the same fashion. Blue and green, -1, pink and yellow, -2 points. And that's how this game's going to work. All the players are going to keep taking turns until everyone passes, and that will be the end of the round. You'll put out new buses. You get money at the beginning of the round, depending on which round it is. Noting in round 4, you don't get any money added to your bank. And at the end of 4 rounds, you'll add up all the points, giving yourself points for however many different attractions you were able to get, all the different colors of meeples in your park, minus the ones left at your entrance, and -2 points for any of those pathways that ended, that weren't connected, ending in tiles. And add up the points, and whoever's got the most is the winner, and that is how you play Meeple Land. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. And we're back, and right now we're going to share our thoughts on Meeple Land while you guys get to see some gameplay footage of this game in action. So Sam, first thought seeing this on the table, you've got these different meeples of all colors, you've got these tiles, kind of feels like one of those polyomino games in which you're trying to place things in a certain area, but there's not like different Tetris shaped pieces with these tiles. It has this cool theme of theme park to it. What were your first impressions with this game?
I wasn't really sure. I feel like we've played this last year a lot of theme park themed games. Okay. And I've been burned by some of them. So I wasn't sure how this was going to go. I wasn't sure how the theme was going to work. Okay. With this, but I do like tile laying a lot. Okay. So I was excited to play it, but I was hesitant.
Sam, let me ask you about that real quick, because this is a tile laying game at its heart. That's what you're trying to do, is lay these strategically so you can connect paths and have certain attractions and features in the right spots. Why might it be that tile laying seems to work real well when playing with non-gamers?
I think it's because it's the most basic first game we ever played, and that's a puzzle. I think most people understand that concept. Okay. I know some people may not have a math type mind where you can see how things can fit together, but I think the puzzle idea, and usually in these type games you have your own puzzle, so you're not doing it with somebody else, you're playing against each other, but you're doing your own. And I think having your own space, doing your own thing, is really beneficial for a non-gamer.
Yeah, and so kind of what you're speaking to there is that this is a solo, or not solo, but solitaire experience, in that what I'm building here doesn't really affect you and what you're building over on your side.
You can't mess my stuff up. I can't be affected by your moves necessarily. I can be affected by your choices, but my stuff is my stuff. Yeah, and I really enjoy that not having to play directly with you.
Which is, well, gee, thanks. Which is, an interesting thing, because I think there are a number of gamers out there that would probably say the exact opposite, that they do want that interaction and they do want that conflict. And so that is something you have to be mindful of when you're gaming with a non-gamer, is that might break the wrong way for you.
I think, and I'll get more into this in my pros and cons, but the conflict, there's an internal conflict with these type games.
Okay.
And it's really, again, I'll get into it more here in a bit, but the internal conflict is fun but frustrating, and it definitely pushes.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, a really fine line.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's get back to this specific game here, Sam. As terms of fun factor, that's always a very important thing. You don't want to play games that aren't any fun. How was this one for you? Did this one strike you in a good light?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this game more than I thought when I first saw it. It had a lot of aspects to it that I really enjoyed, and I thought it was unique too, as far as a tile laying game is concerned, because like Lance said, it doesn't have those the shapes that fit together.
Oh, polyominoes.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what you were going for there.
It's a little bit different than that. The paths that you have to connect, I really liked this game. Yeah,
there's a lot of different mechanics going on with this one. We mentioned tile laying, there's drafting, there's set collection. There's lots of different ideas and mechanics at this one, but I feel like it all really flows well together. You really want to draft the pieces that you need to build your park the best way you can, but you really got to be mindful of how that fits in your park. Mm-hmm. Do you have the space? Are the paths connecting? Are you getting your meeples where they need to be? Are you getting the features next to the rides?
Yeah.
Those are really connected choices, and you can see how they connect and how this game all flows together, fits with the theme. You don't want to just be haphazard and chaotic in building your park. You want to make sure that people can get where they want to go.
I feel like they did a really good job, though, because I feel like in some games like this, there's just too many. Like, it's just impossible. You can't have that in the right place, the path in the right place, and it next to what it needs to be next to. But it was enough that it's a little bit of a brain burner. You really have to think about what you're doing, but not so much that it's completely impossible. It was very,
I would agree with that.
Very possible.
Yeah. This is not a complicated game, and it's not a game that is very difficult to figure out how to do well in.
Yeah.
But this is a game in which you need to figure out how to do the best, obviously, if you want to win. Duh.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one that everybody's doing. I probably feel like everybody's going to be doing well at. It's just, are you going to be doing better than everyone else?
Yeah.
And that's a fun experience. I feel like it's an experience that everybody feels like they have a fair shot at winning at, but it still comes down to strategy. It comes down to planning, and it's just, did you plan out well?
Yeah.
And sometimes that goes for the gamer. Sometimes it goes for the non-gamer. You won the particular footage that you guys saw. Sam won that one, and so I
feel like we should always make that as a disclaimer with my rating, because my rating is always going to be higher if I won the first time.
Well, we're not going to get into that. But anyhow, I think this one all just really works well, and it flows well. So let's talk about pros and cons with this particular game. Sam, you as the non-gamer, what stood out to you in a positive manner?
Again, really enjoyed this game. I like tile laying. I thought that the choices that you have, they did a really good job. It's not so many, but it's a good amount. You're not feeling like you're cutthroat trying to get pieces from each other. I said this before as well. I feel like the qualifications to get more points, having it next to this and having the paths connect, was reasonable. It made you really think, but it was reasonable. There's a lot of internal struggle. You take a piece, you put it down, and man, you get two more pieces in and you're like, oh, I'm regretting that. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I hated that in a good way.
Right. That's one of the reasons why I really like this game.
Yeah.
You keep going.
I like that as well. And I think for a non-gamer, I didn't know what Lance was doing to an extent. We obviously talked through the game and
look at each other's boards.
But I had no idea where his score was. And so I think that's really good for a non-gamer, because you're not getting halfway through the game and being like, well, you know, I'm
out of it.
I'm out of it. I didn't know the score to the very end. We didn't realize that I was going to win.
There's not a visual score track in this game. Nobody really knows who's far ahead or how far behind you might be, and that can be a good thing.
That's a really good thing for non-gamers. It just helps from getting discouraged. And by the time you finish the game and you see what you've created, even if you've lost, it's just not as big of a loss if you see yourself losing the entire time.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's definitely kind of one of those things. You don't want to sour the whole 45-minute experience because you're constantly behind this person.
Yeah.
If you know, there's only like a 5-minute disappointment right at the very end because I thought I was doing well, but then I lost. No big deal, right? Like you still enjoyed the 40 minutes leading up to that.
You enjoyed building something.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, again, a big fan of tile laying games. But I really liked I really loved that you got points for getting different.
The set collection.
Yeah, the set collection, because if that wasn't part of it, it would
just
be
buy whatever you want.
And it would be a lot easier. But it makes sense. You don't want 7 Ferris wheels in your...
I ended up having like 3 in my part.
Yeah. And some of that was luck, because there were times, especially at the end, where like both of us had everything that was out. We're both looking for one specific one.
I'm going to jump over into the cons now, because that and I don't mean to kind of jump out first and say, here's my con. But I do feel like in drafting games, there almost always needs to be a mechanic where you can wipe the market in some fashion, even if that's at the cost of losing points or something. There needs to be a way to clean the market out. There wasn't in this game. I think I would like there to be that.
I agree with I totally agree with that. I think that at the end, that both of us were in the same spot. It wasn't one person was benefiting more than another. Both of us were in the same spot, so it would have been nice to kind of mix things up a little bit, even if it's at the risk of losing points or paying something.
Yeah. Sam, so what other cons did you have with this one?
I mean, there wasn't a whole lot. There, you know, you have the buses, and so you have to have, you know, this, and I think maybe if there was a way to get, I mean, it's hard. It's a good, you know, you want a game to be a little bit difficult. You don't want it to be too easy. Yeah. And so you're picking the buses to get the colors. I needed a lot of one color. I can't remember what that is now. And it just, I couldn't get it. It just wasn't even a possibility.
You're at the mercy of what comes out with the tiles and with the bus cards. And if you don't get the things you need, you're going to have to change your strategy if you want to do well. And if you've gone so many rounds, I mean, this isn't a long game. There's only 4 rounds. Yeah. And so if you've gone 2 of those rounds with a certain idea in mind, and it doesn't pan out for you, that's half the game.
Yeah.
And you've only got 2 more rounds to figure out a new strategy before it's over. And so I do think because it's short, the luck of the draw factor is a bigger part in this game, because there's not as many cards coming out.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a con. Again, if there could be a way to clear some of them out to get new ones out, that would make it better. I don't, you know, I'm not a board game designer, so I don't know, you know, how you would balance that out. That's just an idea.
Because you don't want it to be like you're getting everything you want. You're building your dream, and you win.
But I completely agree with you there that maybe it is a little too luck dependent as far as what comes out on those tiles and the cards. So there you go. That's the pros and cons for Meeple Land. Let's get into our scores on this one. Scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. I'm going to go first because I want to throw mine out there. For me, this game really, I mean, I'm a sucker for having to put tiles or polyominoes in a certain enclosed space and having to fit them in certain ways. That just really speaks to me in Tetris and, you know, all the other games that really kind of fit in that mold. I love the theme of theme parks, building theme parks. I just love theme parks in general. So everything about this game really appeals to me. I'm going to give it a 7.6. For me, this is a solid game. It's one that I would be very happy to play at any time. I feel like it plays very well with non-gamers. I think it could play well with kids. I think it can play well with gamers. It's a cool experience. Doesn't take up too much of the night. It's about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes. So 7.6 for me. Sam, what do you think?
I really liked this game. Again, it's some of my favorite components and aspects of board games. I'm going to rate it a lot higher than Lance. I think I'd give it an 8.3.
Whoa, okay. You're in the 8s.
Yeah, I would definitely. This is one of my top games this month.
All right. Well, you might see this game again when we share our best of the month clip on another channel out there. We did one of those a while back, but that's on a different video, so let's stay on this. But you really enjoyed this one then,
I did, yeah. It was a lot of fun. I think it'd be good for a non-gamer. It may be a good start to tile laying, but that's something I'm pretty familiar with, so it's a little hard for me to speak to a brand new non-gamer.
Okay.
But I think it's a good start for sure, and it's a fun theme.
All right, well, there you have it. High remarks from Meeple Land from Blue Orange Games. And Sam, you said that you would recommend playing this with a non-gamer.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, there you have it. Again, Meeple Man from Blue Orange Games. Go check it out.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.